Okay, so today I'm going to just give you a little um, summary of how energy flow occurs in ecosystems. So, one of the most commonly used representations is something called a food chain. And I'm certain that you've probably seen these before in your younger years of school. But a food chain is very simple. It typically starts with the sun. Here's our sun. And though the sun may not always be shown in a food web, it can be assumed that that is where all energy begins. So the first level after the sun is called producers. And producers are any organism that can photosynthesize, like plants primarily. In this case, it's an aquatic ecosystem, and we have algae. And algae is a major producer that stores most of the energy in this ecosystem. So the sunlight energy is transferred to the plants, and then an animal like, in this case, a herbivore known as mosquito larvae, which live in water, eats the algae. So the energy flows from the algae to the mosquito when the mosquito eats it. Now the energy, of course, is used by the mosquito as it wiggles along and gets ready to turn into the adult mosquito. But in the meantime, an aquatic carnivore known as the dragonfly larva could eat the mosquito larva. And in turn, the energy gained there is used by the dragonfly, but a perch may come along. And the perch can eat the dragonfly larva, among other things, and get their energy. And then, of course, the energy in the perch can be transferred to a pike and so on up to the human. It should be noted that if we took all of the producers in an ecosystem and put them on one side of a balance and took all of the other non-producers and put them on the other side of a balance, this would weigh more, the producers. Because energy is lost at each level. It's used constantly. So there has to be more available here in the producers than in all of the consumers together. So if you think about it, if you look outside, I mean, there's trees everywhere. If you took all the trees and put them on one side of a scale, it would clearly weigh more than all of the animals, deer, chipmunks, even us, if we put them on the other side of the balance. So, okay. A more realistic and better view, in my opinion, of energy flow in an ecosystem is called a food web. And here we have looks like a typical forest ecosystem. Again, begins with the sun, and they simplified the first step with energy flow going to just a group known as the green plants. They're also all producers. So the energy in green plants can be stored in different parts of the plant, whether it's the leaves or the fruits or the nuts, the berries, the roots, the stems. They can all, depending on the plant, can store energy. And the energy is used by the plants and as they do their thing. But along can come something like a deer. And if a deer eats the acorns from a tree, it gains the energy, of course, and the deer use the energy, but they still eat enough acorns and other foods that they get enough energy that they can supply energy to the bobcats. So there's a very simple food chain. 1, 2, 3. One food chain shown in our forest food web. A more complex food chain, again, starts with the sun. Energy stored in the plants. Let's go this direction. We can go to the herbivore insects. The insects, in turn, can be eaten by, let's go this way, to spiders, which are carnivores. They eat other animals. We can go from spiders. The energy, note the direction of the arrow, goes from the animal being eaten. It goes into the animal doing the eating, in this case a toad. Snakes can eat toads. And let's go one more trophic level, one more energy level to our owls, our top level carnivore. So the nice thing about a food web is that although it is more complex, it is a more realistic diagram to illustrate true energy flow in an ecosystem.